You know what's crazy? Most people think owning more means winning at life. More clothes, more furniture, more gadgets, more everything. But here is a truth that almost no one realizes until they are deep into the mess. The more you own, the more you owe. Every item you buy doesn't just cost money, it costs energy, it costs time, it costs mental space. You think that new thing will make you feel richer, but it usually makes you feel heavier. Because when you own more, you start managing more. You clean more, you maintain more, you worry more. And before you even realize it, your possessions start to possess you. But something shifts the moment you decide to own less. Suddenly, you're not buried under your own stuff anymore. You start seeing what actually matters. You start realizing how much of your life you spent chasing things that never added value beyond the first week. It's strange how owning less can quietly make you richer. Not richer in the usual sense, but richer in freedom, focus, and peace. Because when you strip away the excess, you're left with clarity. And clarity is a kind of wealth no one talks about. Think about your closet for a second. How many clothes do you actually wear? 10%? Maybe less. But that closet represents your years of decision driven by impulse, insecurity, and comparison. You don't wear most of them, yet you hold on to them just in case. Just in case of what? Just in case one day you wake up and suddenly become a different person. You keep them because they represent who you wish you were, not who you are. The truth is, the act of letting go is uncomfortable because it forces you to face your real needs, not your imagined ones. But when you finally start letting go, you realize how light life feels. You don't waste time searching for things anymore. You don't feel guilty about unused purchases. You start valuing what you already have. And that shift, that mental clarity spills over into everything else. You spend less because you crave less. You save more because you're not trying to fill emotional gaps with random stuff. You start understanding that money has more power when it's not constantly being converted into clutter. Every dollar you don't spend becomes a tool for freedom instead of another chain of responsibility. And that's when wealth quietly begins to grow. You stop being reactive with your money. You stop buying to impress, to distract, or to feel better. You start buying only to improve your life in real, measurable ways. That's financial maturity. That's power. Most people are drowning in things they once thought would make them happy. Their homes are filled with evidence of unhealed emotions and forgotten instances. But minimalism isn't about deprivation, it's about direction. It's not about having nothing, it's about making sure everything you have serves a purpose. Because every item in your space either adds value or drains it. There is no middle ground. And when you remove what drains you, you naturally feel richer. Even if your bank account hasn't changed yet, the richness shows up in time, in peace, in focus. You stop living paycheck to paycheck not just because you make more money, but because you stop wasting it. You start prioritizing experiences over purchases. You invest in memories, skills, and goals instead of gadgets. You realize happiness was never hiding in the next purchase. It was buried under everything you didn't need. The funny thing that is, once you start owning less, you start thinking differently. You start seeing marketing for what really is: emotional manipulation disguised as lifestyle advice. You no longer feel the pull to buy the next big thing because you know that feeling fades fast. You begin to notice how most people spend their lives upgrading things that were already good enough: new phone, new car, new furniture, new stress. You, on the other hand, start optimizing for calm. You stop chasing upgrades and start building stability. That's when money starts compounding in your favor. Because wealth isn't about how you earn or how much you earn, it's about how little you waste. Imagine the average person spends hundreds every month on things they forget about within weeks: subscriptions, decor, clothes, random gadgets. That money could have built freedom, but instead it bought noise. The moment you shift that spending into purpose driven use, your financial life transforms. You stop being controlled by your desires and your desires start aligning with your values. You become intentional, and intention builds wealth faster than any side hustle. It's not about cutting back on joy, it's about cutting out the things that disguise themselves as joy. When you live with less, your money finally has direction. It's no longer scattered across impulse buys and meaningless upgrades. It's focused, it's powerful, and when money becomes focused, opportunities start appearing. Because now you have margin to invest, to breathe, to take risks, to walk away from bad decisions. You can't build wealth in chaos, you can only build it in clarity. And clarity begins when you declutter your space, your finances, and your mind. The truth is, you don't get rich by owning more. You get rich by needing less. The less you need, the more freedom you have. And freedom is the ultimate form of wealth. Not the car, not the brand, not the watch. Freedom to wake up and know that you are not tied to debt. Not buried in stuff, not working just to maintain things that don't matter. That's the richest feeling in the world. So, if you want to feel wealthy, start by looking around. How many of those things actually make your life better today? How many bring peace instead of noise? If they don't, maybe it's time to let them go. Because the more space you create in your life, the more wealth finds its way in. The irony is, the world keeps telling you to add more to become more. But the truth is, every layer you peel back brings you closer to the life you actually want. A life that's lighter, freer, and infinitely richer. Owning less isn't about losing things, it's about gaining yourself back.